Hello, book community. Terry, Kendra, talk about books. We're here to talk about Stephen King's The Mist. But before we do that, I just wanted to give a little bit of a heads up. Normally, when you see a book videos, you see a monthly TBR and a monthly wrap-up. We are not going to do monthly TBRs and monthly wrap-ups. We will probably do TBRs and wrap-ups, but they're not going to be monthly kind of a thing.
Just when we can get to them.
Yeah.
Lately our daughter's been sick a few times, so it's hard to juggle all the videos and reading and everything around that. So
yeah. So, well, not only that, but he reads a little bit slower than I do. I read a lot faster, and so it's not a good. We feel like it's not a good balance, and the TBRs kind of like put pressure on us to do that right in the beginning of the month, and the wrap-ups at the very end of the month, and we just don't want. This is supposed to be a hobby for us, and so we're not going to put any kind of pressure on what kind of videos we want to do. Not only that, but both of us are kind of mood readers, and so even though we have a TBR, we kind of like pick up a book and what we want to read, and if it's not a book we want to read, then it's not going to be enjoyable for us just because it's on a TBR video. So we're not going to do that anymore.
And she listens to a lot of audiobooks, so she gets through books faster than I do.
So instead, when we do book reviews, we're starting to read each other's books. So for instance, this is his book. And the Locke review, if you haven't watched, go watch it. Also, please give us a thumbs up if you like these little one-on-one book reviews. We really enjoy them. Give us a thumbs up if you do. And then if you're enjoying us, then subscribe to us. And just so you know, this is probably going to be pretty much chock full of spoilers.
Yeah, it's too short of a book to really do two sections, so we're just going to talk about spoilers right off the bat regarding the story, because the story is not even 200 pages, so I don't really see the point, or we don't see the point in making two sections for a short video. So,
well, and we
might as well talk about the movie too, because there's only a few handful of differences, and
that's true.
And the movie's been out for a while, so
there's a spoiler for that too.
Yeah.
So did you like the book?
Oh yeah, this is my favorite Stephen King book, actually. I've read The Stand all the way through, other than this one. I tried reading The Long Walk years ago, and I think there's another that I tried reading. Oh, I read Cell all the way through. I thought that book sucked.
Don't hold anything back.
I don't have it anymore. I don't own it anymore. The Stand was good, but I read the unabridged version, just to be clear, and it was way too long. The middle third, or no, the last third of the book just dragged. The conclusion was anticlimactic, I would say, and not satisfying at all for as many pages you had to read to get to it. It's like, I think the unabridged version is like 600 or 700 pages. It's pretty long.
I've read.
I really liked it. It's my favorite book by him. What do you think of it?
I'm actually going to give it a 5-star rating.
Yeah, I would too, because it's. I probably like it because it's so short and concise in his thoughts and the way he writes his characters and stuff. There's no fat, so to speak, on the book.
No.
There's no meandering or erroneous details or anything like that. So,
well,
I really
enjoyed it.
And
I've read Pet Sematary, and I've read It. I want to read more of his. I really enjoyed Pet Sematary a lot. I remember reading that. I was in high school, and I remember reading that and going, okay, I got to put this. I was in like broad daylight on a boat, and I was like, okay, I can't. I'm done. I can't read this very much longer. I'm freaked out. So I stopped reading it, like out of nowhere, and that's the first and only book that has ever made me do that. So I obviously really enjoyed Pet Sematary a lot, and it was okay.
Yeah, that's what I hear
Surprisingly,
too.
the movies are more spookier than the book. So. But there's a scene that if you've read it, you know what scene I'm talking about, that I am glad they never put it in a movie, because that is totally inappropriate, and I don't know where he was coming off, but...
Drugs, probably.
Yeah.
He was a known, I think, cocaine user or something like that.
Yeah. But we
knows?
digress. Anyway, The Mist, about a guy named David, who has a son named Billy, who has a wife named Steffi. Storm comes in, knocks out the power.
There's a mist roiling across the lake, and it's like defying known weather physics and meteorology and all that. And so they're kind of worried about that, because it's basically moving at speed, for a mist, and they can't see through it. And there's apparently, well, from what they understand or can tell, there's a clear line between the mist and everything else. It's not like, how you can see fog or mist creep across the ground, and, first it's, you can see through it a little bit, but then it gets so dense you can't. Well, there's clearly just a line where the fog starts.
Like almost like a glass wall. That keeps
and you can't
moving.
see into it. And so their power's out, and their neighbor Norton, David doesn't really like him, but he starts talking to him, and they have to cut down a tree and decide they're going to go to the store and get some refreshments and other things.
She's wanting to make lunch. The wife does,
yeah.
and she needs things, so they go all together. Billy goes with, and they go to the grocery store. As they're waiting in line, because it's a very, very long line, because they're doing everything old school, the cashiers are. While they're waiting in line, the guy comes running in, says, the mist got my buddy.
The what?
The mist got my buddy.
Oh, yeah. Well, and at this point, the mist is pretty much at the windows.
Yeah.
And
while they're waiting in line.
All hell starts to break loose, basically. People start panicking. Yeah, it's a good old time.
So, what did you think of... Because they were only there for 2 nights, and then there's this character named Mrs. Carmody. And she's a crazy religion lady. And she kind of like gets like a gathering of people because everyone's starting to freak out. So they turn to her.
Everybody starts fearing things, and some things happen, and she kind of becomes the unofficial shepherd for these people, and they're scared, and so she starts offering them advice and saying it's the end times and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, this is after David and Ollie and a couple of the guys go in the back, because a couple of guys have the idea that they would go out the back door, the loading bay. They would go out of it.
Well, they were doing the generator, and the
and
generator
it
was
broke
going
down.
out.
Yeah, it's like smoking, and they lost power, and so they go in there and investigate, and it turns out that the loading bay door is open, right?
Right.
And they decide, well, we probably should close that, and they figure out, what's going on with the generator, so they start working on that. In meantime, the grocery store kid and a couple other guys are trying to shut the bay door, and they start shutting it, and that kid went out for some reason and tries to get back in and gets caught and by a tentacle and dragged out.
Well, he's pretty much bossed by the manager, not Ollie, but the other guy.
Yeah, the store manager owner, yeah.
To go take care of that, and David's pretty much like, this is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
And it ends up getting the kid killed.
Yep.
So that was unfortunate. But it only took 2 nights for Carmody, to get this big, huge amount of people for the grocery store to like be on her side. And then they decide that, the way to take care of this is we need to sacrifice that kid. The only kid in the store.
Expiation,
Billy.
That's what she keeps yelling. Like blood sacrifice, basically, to appease God or whatever it is that's occurring out there.
2 nights.
So I guess she's very Old Testament in her beliefs.
Which I think is weird, because when David in his mind was thinking about it, this is back. He was like, this woman is the one that people like. She has like a little shop, and they call her a witch and all kinds of words. And
she's very strange and eccentric.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden she's the religious chick,
and like, everyone's listening to her.
Wait a minute, what happened here?
Well, they're looking. I guess they're scared, so they're looking for safety in numbers. I don't know that, or they're just easily cowed.
I just couldn't believe it only took. I mean, I can believe, but it's still shocking that it only took 2 nights to get a rather large amount of the people to decide that this little boy was needing to be their sacrifice. And then the 3rd morning, David, Ollie, obviously Billy. There's a few others that decide that she's obviously this is not going to go well. And so this is before she's decided that the boy needs to go. And so they're like, we need to get going, try to find a way out. And David figures out that it's all about smell.
They hide some groceries.
Yeah.
That they're going to take when they leave early in the morning, this group of 5 to 6, and they're going to get to his car and then leave and just take their chances, because it's not worth staying in the grocery store at this point. And at that point, I think one of the windows is already broken because something got in. And
yeah, it was like almost like a Fly for Us. These monsters that are coming through the mist is like their fly, and then there's this big bird that comes, kills one of the fly, guys, and so that causes a big hole in the window, and that takes care of a few people. And then they go to the pharmacy that's next door in hopes.
Oh, that's a bloodbath.
Yeah. They were trying to hopes to see what people were left over there.
They lost like 2 or 3 people just going next door in the same building.
Creepy spiders, which I can't stand spiders.
Like
already.
their spider webs are razor sharp, and so if you get wrapped up in it, it basically like cutting into you, and then they got
And
you.
they have extra legs, he said in the book.
Oh yeah,
Just,
yeah.
And they're big, massive, just all around. That part was hard for me to get through because all I could imagine was spiders all over me, and I was just like, oh my god, this is terrifying.
So yeah, if you like horror, it's a great book.
Oh yeah.
It's an easy read. You could probably read it in an afternoon if you're, lounging outside in beautiful weather or on the beach or on the cruise ship or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's perfect for
It's a beach read.
Definitely.
Yep.
It is nice though that it's October and we're talking about horror. So
yeah, it's a good book.
That's when you should.
You could probably get it super cheap, especially if you get like an ebook or get it used somewhere.
And it'll be nothing to get through it. It only took me like a day, 2 days, so it's easy peasy. So
I think it's some of Stephen King's best work.
Yeah.
That's not saying much because I haven't read much by him, but
no. But between the two
any
of
other
us,
thoughts on it?
I really
Rate
do
it?
highly suggest it. I gave it a 5 stars.
Okay, 5 stars.
There's nothing I would have changed about it. Bing, 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 bing.
5 stars. Yep. Pretty good.
Yeah.
5 bloody handprints since it's
there we go.
October.
I liked it. I like the ending better than the movie because the movie the
movie is pretty faithful to the book in most regards, but in the movie for some reason I guess to make it more controversial, I don't know. All that stuff happens basically the same way.
Yeah.
They escape to his car.
They run out of gas.
They run out of gas, and they're like stuck on the highway, and they see things moving in the mist around them. And then they have this revolver with 4 bullets?
Yeah, there are 4, and there's 5 people.
So it's pretty dark. Does he shoot them, or they shoot?
Yeah, David shoots everybody. The boy Billy,
his son Billy.
He's asleep, and he kind of like stirs just enough to realize that his dad's shooting him because he doesn't want him to get a monster get a hold of him. Then he shoots the woman next to him and the 2 old people in the back, and then he gets out of the car to like pretty much sacrifice himself to the monsters. And
Does he get out? I didn't think he got it. I thought he was looking around and
no, he gets out.
He sees the. Does he?
Yeah, because he gets out to sacrifice himself, thinking that a monster was coming, and ends up being military.
Yeah, it was like army
everybody.
Humvees with weapons and.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're cleaning up the operation or whatever it was.
It didn't need to happen.
In the book, there's a Project Arrowhead that's mentioned a couple of times, but we're guessing maybe some kind of portal or something was opened and Lovecraftian horrors came out and started eating people and killing them. But it's based on smell, right?
Yeah.
The mist.
The monsters.
How they move in the mist is based on smell. So you figure that out pretty much towards the end.
In the book, it's just kind of like open ending kind of thing. Like they're at a location,
gas station,
and they're kind of like resting up.
And he's writing out his last thoughts and leaving
what happened the last 3 days or 4 days. It ends up being 4 days when he's writing.
And I really like that ending because it's very open ended and open to interpretation.
Definitely.
Whereas the movie was like super depressing.
Yeah,
I could never harm my child like that, especially in a deadly way.
I would do anything I could not. There was no way. There's no way I could possibly stare at my child.
Because you don't know. I mean, that's final. You don't.
Yeah.
If you just decided to let everybody live, you don't know what can happen beyond that.
I'd be like, if you want to shoot yourself, you go right ahead. But I'm not doing it for you. That's for dang sure.
So yeah, it was a great book. I liked it a lot.
Liked it. Loved the ending compared to the movie for sure. 5 stars. Wouldn't change a dang thing. Yay.
Yeah. Enjoy the.
Like he said, 5.
Bloody handprints.
Bloody handprints.
Yeah. I don't know if I can video effects that in. That sounds hard, but if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Yep.
Let us know what you thought of The Mist if you read it, or any other books you're reading. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye!